Serious, Jose, that's how chismes start.
Yeah.
Hel- Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kelly Francis, and I am the executive director of the HITEC Foundation. We are super, super happy to have our partners, Microsoft here, Julissa Judd, Jose Prieto, and Sylvia Soto Avila, here to lead this workshop for you all. And for those that aren't able to make it, we will be sure to share it with you. I am going to pass over the reins to Sylvia, and feel free, put on your cameras, come off mute. Let's make this as interactive and fun as possible. Thank you.
Yeah, so let me actually change a little bit how I see people, just in case everyone decides to come through. Just because I'm extra, and why not? Oh, there you go. Somebody already did. Yay! I love that. Of course, I changed it to Minecraft because why not? So, hello everyone. Welcome to the session. My name is Silvia Sotovella, and today we're going to talk about owning your digital footprint, your digital professional footprint, specifically focus on LinkedIn and how to network with purpose. So, I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. Oh, actually, before that, we're going to talk about the agenda. And of course, my computer decided to go insane. Okay. All right. Let me do this. First, let's review the agenda. I'll tell you a little bit about who we are, then we'll review what is LinkedIn. We're going to talk about what is the profile and what are some things that we should be paying attention to, how to continue to maintain it. And of course, we'll give you some homework because otherwise you're just like listening for funsies and that's not cool. And also, we'll give you some pointers on how to network with purpose. So, with that being said, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am an organizational change manager here at Microsoft. And what that means is that I get to drive people change across our customer service and support organization. And over the past 12 years of my career, I have had other titles such as software developer, technical project manager, data analyst, database developer, people manager. And so that's kind of what brought me into helping people to develop their professional footprint, whether that is through a resume or through their LinkedIn profile. And so my side hustle is as a lead consultant for Resume Partners, which is a personal venture where I help professionals to develop their footprint, right? Whether that is on paper or through their LinkedIn profile. So as you may see on the top right corner, you can see a little QR code. Go ahead, feel free to connect with me. I am more than happy to get to know about you. And I also periodically share resources through my LinkedIn. I'm not a crazy person doing a lot there, but more than happy to connect with anyone in case there's any questions moving forward. And with that being said, I'll pass it to my partner in crime today, Jose.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jose Prieto Nieves. This first time, or very few times, that I add my two last names because people get confused here in the States. But because this is Latin American community right now, you get to see my both last names, and you can imagine how I was conflicted with my brain as I grew up. Well, I'm a Prieto and I'm Nieves, so dark snow. Very funny one. With that, I'm principal data analytics manager. I basically run a team of data scientists, software engineers, PMs, and analysts. Um, I didn't copy her, Sylvia's style in my previous roles, but I obviously have done many other roles. I work in manufacturing when I started in Microsoft. And even when I started my career, through going through college, and then I moved to Caterpillar, worked a couple of years there in the service and sales department. And within Microsoft, I work in many different areas of the company, from manufacturing to program management, solution management, and now running analytics for the last couple of years. And I work specifically on the cybersecurity part of the world. And that's a little bit about me. I'm Puerto Rican. That's where my accent comes from, my background and everything. Very Puerto Rican guy, very Caribeño, right? So if you are Puerto Rican, you should feel proud of me and of you. With that, I will let Sylvia go with her talk.
I love this introduction, Jose. High five. I think we could do a virtual high five right there. Boom. There you go. Yay! Awesome. So why do we tell you about our previous roles? Obviously, there's a method of madness, right? We have learned some tips and tricks throughout our career, and our brains operate in a way that understands that third dimension between like machines and people interactions. And so that's why this session has so much value for you, because we have translated what a lot of that means for your benefit in regards to how to start your footprint and how to maintain it over the course of the next forever years. So let's get started. What is LinkedIn? Um, does any of you have LinkedIn today? And if you can just raise your hand if you do, virtually or on camera. All right, one person, four people have LinkedIn. Awesome, very cool. So good. I like to start from the very beginning because I don't like to make any assumptions when I'm having a conversation about a topic with anyone. So I'll tell you the what, why, how, where of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, as of today, is the largest social professional network in the world. There are hundreds of thousands of people connected through LinkedIn, and the number continues to increase every single day. Any person who wants to start or grow their career, they may get started with a free LinkedIn profile today. Of course, there's perks to getting a premium account, but you do not have to get a premium account to be able to take in the benefits of LinkedIn. This powerful tool has become super important for both individuals who are trying to grow or tap into a different career, as well as for companies, because they are getting a tremendous amount of data through LinkedIn that helps them to be laser focused on the kind of skills that they're looking for their companies. So there is no harm at all on getting a LinkedIn. And today's conversation specifically is to empower all of you to highlight all the amazing work that you have done throughout college, so you can also highlight that through your LinkedIn profile today. A lot of people are like, oh, Sylvia, but I am just starting. I haven't had any jobs. I just finished working at Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I don't have anything to put on my LinkedIn. Well, we can definitely argue a lot of that, because even if you had a job at Dunkin' Donuts as a cashier, there was a lot of dedication put into that role that you made it successful, right? And there was also a lot of dedication that you put into your project work at school, and that's why you're graduating pretty soon, right? So then all of those items can be highlighted through this profile to be able to tell your story, because at the end of the day, what companies are looking for are people that can communicate, people that can think outside the box, people that can think strategically, right? People that are detail oriented. Let me tell you, those three skills are the top look for. And yes, maybe you have a degree in IT, or you have a degree in business and data, whatever. That's a paper saying that you can learn certain skills. But at the end of the day, the application of a daily routine of certain skills that we need to get from people is what they're looking for specifically. So I'll tell you some facts about LinkedIn and why this conversation is important from a technology perspective. It's a system, right? And today, like I said, a lot of companies, and I would argue all of them, use these application tracking systems, or ATS, to read and prioritize applicants through resumes or LinkedIn. And there's a lot of companies that will tell you out there, like, oh no, we have a human doing this kind of job. We're doing it more personable, blah, blah, blah. That's great. I don't trust companies. I don't trust the systems. I like people to look and show the best of their best. So that way, if your information is going to get put through a system, which it will, you can spit out really good results for the systems, right? So then, knowing this, we need to understand that systems are waiting for some sort of data to be as an input, right? We're thinking about keywords and what are the things that they're looking for and what are the skills that they're looking for. So we need to make sure that those items are showing up on your profile, because otherwise there's not going to be a match. So those are things that you need to keep in mind moving forward. Any questions so far? All right. So, profile review. There's a ton of sections on LinkedIn, and you may get a little overwhelmed when you start. what do I update, what's important, what's not important. And so the information that I'm about to tell you is based on my professional experience and based on helping dozens of professionals to improve their LinkedIn profiles for great results. So before we get started, though, a word of caution. And this, I tell the same thing to professionals and to college students. LinkedIn is a professional network. Therefore, please keep it professional. Things that you want to do on Instagram stays on Instagram. Things that you want to share on Facebook stays on Facebook. TikTok stays on TikTok. Professional items that you want your manager to see. Those are the kind of things that we want to share on LinkedIn. All right. Always try to keep that in mind. If you want your manager to see it, if you want the CEO of your company to see it, it's okay to share on LinkedIn. Otherwise, keep it to the other networks. If you're a content developer and you're like, oh, Sylvia, but I don't know, this is aligned to my brand or whatever, that's totally fine. But just make sure that it is aligned to whatever purpose that you have for that particular profile. If you have an email when you're signing up for LinkedIn, I know this is basic stuff, but there's still people using sexypants69@gmail.com to sign up for LinkedIn. Please make sure that you have a good professional email when you're creating your profile on LinkedIn, because that's the email that it's going to be visible to recruiters and to companies whenever you reach out to them or whenever you share your information. So please just keep it simple. And just a reminder for everyone, just make sure that all your social networks, regardless of what they are, they have all the lockdowns, that you should be using for security purposes to make sure that people are only seeing what you want them to see and that they have the access that you want them to have. So let's get started with our profile. I'll start with the photo. Photos are super important on LinkedIn. And I just heard something a few weeks ago from a college student that broke my heart. And I want to make sure that we clarify some myths about these photos on LinkedIn for everyone. The photos on LinkedIn is a new way of approaching work and a new way of approaching applicants and recruiters. Therefore, it is 100% important to have a photo, to have a good photo of you. It doesn't show sexism, it doesn't show racism, it doesn't show anything like that. It just shows who you are. And the way that people approach this photo on LinkedIn is to know whether or not you're an approachable person. Not so much if you're pretty or not, but just to make sure that you're approachable. So approachable in a professional manner is a photo that goes from your chest to the top of your head, and try to smile if you can smile. One of my best friends, she just doesn't like to smile. Her smile for some reason is not great, but she looks great, very serious. If you want to be serious, that's totally fine, but just try to create a photo that is approachable. If you have the money, if you're getting gifts from graduation and you want to give yourself an awesome gift, invest in a professional headshot. I highly advise I highly recommend people to get a professional shot, because this is your main business card across the world today, right? If you had business cards, or if you were thinking about getting business cards, forget about it. That's not going to happen. That's trash. This is your business card. So if you want to give yourself a good gift, is to invest in a professional headshot. Oh, Sylvia, but I don't know where to get a headshot. Hey, my name is Sylvia Sotavella. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll help you find a person, because this is extremely important for everyone. And again, everyone should be getting a photo. It doesn't hurt you. It actually highlights who you are. Now, moving on to your name. Please show your name exactly as it will appear at work. For many of you, exactly as it appears on your diploma, because we want to make sure that there's no confusion between what's your name and the person that actually got the diploma and is applying for a job. That's the name that should be showing up on your resume. That's the name that should be showing up on your LinkedIn. Your location. Your location today, if you already have a job, make sure it's aligned to your job. And if not, you can put a location that is aligned to whatever location you want to move into, or you can put kind of where you are, that's a little bit more flexible based on your job search right now. But later on, once you get a job, make sure that your location is always aligned with the site that you're supposed to be at for work. Meaning, if you're supposed to be working in Tampa, make sure that your location says Tampa and not like New York City. Because I've seen people getting in trouble because they don't have the right information on LinkedIn. And that's how they get caught by their management teams, is because they're not in the right place where they're supposed to, according to your job. So just make sure that you keep that aligned to where you're supposed to be. Your background photo. Background photos kind of tells a little bit more about your personality. You can use the standard LinkedIn photos, that's fine. You can also find something that it's more about you. Personally, this is a photo that I took about my grandfather's in my grandfather's farm in Colombia, and I love this photo just because every time I look at it, what you don't see is that I grew up, hanging out with my cousins, and so like this is a branch where like 10 kids would sit on, and then we would push each other and all that jazz. So it just has really good memories for me, and it turned out to be an awesome background photo in my profile. So I encourage you to go through your photos because you'll be surprised to see what things may blend pretty well with your profile. Now, you're about. This one is super important. This one will take inspiration work because this is kind of where you're going to do your elevator speech in a more approachable manner for professionals, right? Um, this one, for some people, is kind of hard. And honestly, the best advice that I could give you is to record yourself and start thinking out loud, like who you are, what you like, why do you like that, why do you want to get in that kind of career, and then after that, like process your recording so that you can create your own about. It needs to describe who you are, right? What do you like about your industry? And what are some particular skills that are very unique about you? Again, if you have a job, you can talk a little bit about your current job. If you are looking for a job or a different opportunity later on, you can also specify that in there. Like, I am open to an opportunity in blah, blah, blah. You can say it right there and there in your about. Now, moving on to the experience, and I'm going to jump to the area in blue, right? Um, this is where you can, if you don't have work experience, you can explain what was the work, the contributions that you gave to your projects at school. So for example, thinking back of when I was in college, one of the biggest projects that I had to do was the creation of a database and populate it with data and create some, I think it was like Tableau reports and all of that jazz. So I kind of serve as a project manager. I led the project. I made sure that everyone was following up with their actions. I developed part of the database. Like those are all really good things that I did. And they could be spelled out here in the experience. So you could actually put, in my scenario, it would be like instead of a company, it would be the University of South Florida. It would be database management, uh, class project. And then I would explain exactly what I did, highlighting some of those skills that I want to reflect. If I were looking for a database manager job, right, I would look at the job posting to understand specifically what are the skills that they're looking for. And then I will make sure that whatever I'm saying in regards to my description, not a copy and paste, but that it kind of resembles what they're looking for. That way, it's all about the words, right? We want to make sure that there's some compatibility between what I'm putting into the machine and what their machine is looking for. So that's kind of how you get that match in between the two items. Education. Please include the details about the degree that you're getting. Did you get a focus on a specific area? Was it like marketing? Was it, I don't know, international business? What is it that you're getting? There's an area where you can also add your classes, your courses, and you're more than encouraged to be able to add the courses in there too. Again, this is a machine and we want to feed as many keywords as possible. So this is another great opportunity for you to add like business analysis and economics and accounting and all those keywords that you want um, to add to your profile so it increases the compatibility with whatever job you're looking for. Volunteer experience. Again, I think if you were a college student recently, you were very involved in your community and you should definitely put that work in there. Um, Also, high tech, I'm pretty sure there's some volunteer experience that is required through this organization and also your involvement with the team. That's also very valuable for people to understand what that is and how that helps shape you professionally. And also any other licenses or certifications that you may have. Skills. Um, this is a section that is specifically for skills, and you can just go in and look at the skills and add them, right? So either and there's different places where we're adding keywords, right? In your about, in your experience description, in your education information, in your courses, you can add more details. And then here in the skills, this is another place where you can add more keywords. There's a limit of 50 skills that you can enter here. So that's kind of like a balancing dance that you want to play between all your profile to make sure that you're not, using real estate to kind of repeat the same words everywhere, but just make sure that you have a good balance of keywords throughout the entire profile. And again, there's like a method of madness, and that could be like a whole conversation on its own. So we will share this presentation afterwards. I'm adding here some links for you to go through some articles on how to effectively add skills to LinkedIn. And last for the profile review is the recommendations. So recommendations is a really good way to give a reference about someone's contributions and to just kind of give each other kudos, right? I feel like sometimes it doesn't happen a lot. Some way, somehow, references was like a thing of the past. A lot of people don't do it anymore, but this is a way for you to have references on your profile and for them to stay there forever if you want. You can control what recommendations to show or to not show on your profile in case you ever want to hide any of them. But this is a practice that is being brought back into our, current ways of working thanks to LinkedIn. And I think it's beautiful because throughout the years, you're able to maintain an actual record of a person that worked with you. And again, if you want to highlight one of your class projects or any of the jobs that you've had so far, you can ask people for a recommendation. I know it's a little odd, but you can always reach out to people and be like, hey, Julissa, like I would love to get a recommendation, based on my presentation to high tech. I would love for you to talk about my communication skills and presentation and, in detail oriented and my LinkedIn skills. So I would love if you can give me a recommendation on the matter. And then it's up to Julissa if she would do it or not. 90% of the time, people do their recommendation. 10%, they don't know how to do a recommendation on LinkedIn, so don't hold the grudge for them. Any questions so far on the profile review?
Yes.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah. So, well, regarding recommendations. So let's say, for example, I see Sylvia and I'm like, oh wow, she works at Microsoft. So it's been a dream for me to work at Microsoft. Like how does one go about because obviously when it comes to recommendations, you don't want to come across as if it's forced.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you go about like because obviously I think you were speaking more so to like asking for recommendations like on a LinkedIn with previous employers. But what if you wanted a recommendation from someone who is currently in a position that you would like to be in or at a company you like to be in? How would you go about doing that?
Yeah, so that's what we would call a referral. So like a job referral. And Jose is going to jump into that topic in a little bit. So just hold that question for a second because we're going to tap into it. I have more things to say on the matter, but I want Jose to take a first stab at it. Any other questions?
Yes, I have just one small question here.
Yes.
So for education, or for the sections for education and experience,
Mm-hmm.
if you're also employed while you, let's say, are studying as well, but the job itself isn't necessarily, doesn't entail with what you're studying. Like for my case right now, currently I work as a mathematics teacher, but I'm also studying my master's. They're not, well, the
Mm-hmm.
math is still involved with data science, is not as aligned as really other professions might be. Would I
Yeah.
go ahead and still include that for my resume?
And what is your desired career?
It's like a career transition into data science.
Okay. And why do you want to do data science?
It was just more of a fascination when I was just as an undergrad. I was able to do some research using applied math, and I got to use some programming skills from that. So when I
Okay.
was studying for my master's, I just decided that would be a good extension from what I already was interested in.
All right, cool. So everything that you told me right there would transform into the following. So you have your mathematics, job right now, where you're able to define training plans for
Right.
students, where you are helping them to increase their knowledgeability over, I don't know, 25, 50% over, successful educational programs over the course of 6 months. Bingo, right? We want to show that.
Right.
You collaborate with your current tutors or whatever to define the training plans for students that are in diverse levels of education or whatever it is that, the demographics of the students. Boom, you're showing your research, you're showing how you work with people, you're showing how you define the plans of action to move forward. Right there, that's your goal.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now moving on to maintenance, because what I see a lot of people do is they create their profile. It's beautiful. It's great. They forget about it. They start a job. They are working on a job for 5 years, and a job is a job. I hate to say this. Layoffs are a real thing. A business is a business. They get laid off, and then they're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know. I don't have my resume. I don't have my LinkedIn. I don't have this. I don't have that. The world's on fire. And that doesn't need to happen. Okay. We can all be the drivers of our own career and continue to maintain our resume and our LinkedIn profiles throughout the years. So, this is my biggest recommendation to everyone after they're done with their profile, and is to become the drivers of your own career documents, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what you got to show. At the end of the day, like after a job is done, all you have left is your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and the degrees that you got from the university. That's it. So we need to maintain it to make sure that it is spotless and exactly as you want them to be. So define your own review cycle. Personally, every time I have a performance review, that's when I go back into my resume. That's when I go back into my profile to make sure that I am saying the story that I want it to tell. Um, Here at Microsoft, we do this thing that is called perspectives, and we also have our performance reviews, and we get feedback from other people, which is great because I feel like sometimes, and I don't mean to say this because we're Latinos or because I'm a woman or whatever, but sometimes it's really hard to talk about ourselves, right? Like Joshua was saying, like, how do I translate my job into data research? Like, I don't know how to do that. And in a minute, I was able to do it just by asking him a few questions, right? And that's because a lot of times we're really good about talking about someone else than to talking about ourselves. And that's okay. But leverage, whenever people give you feedback and affirmations about your job, your ways of working, leverage those details to tell your story through LinkedIn or your resume. Also, don't wait for you to be just looking for a job, but just periodically review job postings and see what people are asking for, what they're looking for. That helps you to define your own career development. What are the things that you should be looking at? And also to make sure that your profile, your resumes are up to date with what people are looking for. So, again, this is all you're going to have left at the end of the day: your resume, your profile. So, make sure that that's your best marketing tool out there. Please. You'll be surprised to see how many people I'm working with that have been impacted by layoffs or by nonsense, and they don't know where to start, or they have a trash resume, a trash LinkedIn. They're amazing professionals. They're really good at their jobs, but unfortunately, they're not great about telling their stories. And it's not necessarily people who work in IT. I'm talking like social media influencers are also going through this kind of issues. So people are really good about selling products are having challenges about selling their own selves. So please take this very, very seriously. And always remember that your LinkedIn profiles, if you have them updated, if they're attractive, you're going to get attractive offers as well. Um, I'm just doing a quick time check here. 6:36. All right. So, last but not least, this is a trick that I wanted to show you because all the information that you enter on your LinkedIn, you can use it to generate a resume, which is what is stored in the algorithm for LinkedIn for it to show you certain jobs and also for recruiters to find you. So if you're interested in multiple things too, so like for example, a person got, I don't know, a major in business management, but they got a master's on management of information systems, so they want to move into that field, or they also want to do like some sort of like marketing. They can create different resumes on their LinkedIn and they can store them in their profiles. That way the recruiters have a, sorry, let me take this back. That way you have a higher chance of being seen by someone in the particular field that you want to get into, whether it is marketing or information systems or finance. You can create different resumes and store them in LinkedIn. That way you are attractive to certain people based on the searches that they are inputting into the machine. So with that being said, my call to action to you is to start working on your LinkedIn today. Hopefully, all of you have amazing profiles, and this is just like a quick recap. But if not, take the time and start working on this because the time is now. And I just, as you're doing this work, I want you to remember that it's okay for us to celebrate the work that we have done, even if it was just college, because college takes a crazy amount of work and money to get done. So it's okay to celebrate that work and to tell your story. It's okay to enter 20 courses that you took on LinkedIn because that's all the work that you did. It's okay for us to uplift each other through recommendations and help each other, tell each other how amazing we do. Um, as my family would say in Spanish, darnos flores, right? Give each other flowers for the work that we do, and to have an amazing digital footprint, right? If the day of tomorrow something happens, if the world is upside down because of personal or work nonsense, this should not even be a worry. This should be done. So, after today's session, my ask for you is to connect with two or three people from this session on LinkedIn, for you to take some time to review your own profile, for you to go and look for at least three recommendations for you, right? And also to give at least three recommendations to other people, whether they were previous classmates or coworkers. Like, look for those opportunities for you to give and receive and also continue the movement. There's a lot of people who do not know how to get started with LinkedIn, whether they have been in the professional field for 25 years or they're about to start. There's a ton of people that do not know, and there's a lot of misconceptions. Like I said, a student came to me a few weeks ago and told me that a professor specifically told her not to add her photo because that was sexism. Um, which is a huge misconception. And honestly, I thought this person was a robot before I actually connected with her. So we want to make sure that we are destroying all the possible misconceptions that are happening about LinkedIn and that we are actually educating each other about this tool. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Jose.
Hello. I wish I could do as good job as Sylvia did today. So let's start with that. And then I will just do a trick here so that you could see my face, and I will stop Sylvia's face here so that you can see my face in big kudos here. So you went through your LinkedIn profile, made it all awesome. And now you get a call from whatever company, let's say Microsoft, just as an example, right? And what do you do now? Right? And that's what I really want to talk about. And then after that, we will talk a little bit about what you do after you go through that interview, you get called into your job. And with that, maybe move to the next slide. Their slides are not going to be as fancy as Sylvia, getting you all ready. So don't have high expectation from Jose here, right? So what are the information that I will give you guys to get ready for an interview? And maybe some of you are in STEM, and this is very specific to tech work, right? As I mentioned already, I run a team of software engineers and data scientists, so obviously it makes sense that I will tailor my conversation per that. But I study business, and I studied Microsoft as a business person. That's my major. So we could also talk about business as well. And I want to say one big critical part that Sylvia mentioned already is that your about in your LinkedIn is super important. And as a person that actually hire people and interview people, I will tell you that I look at your resume and then I go to LinkedIn, right, and see what's in your profile. What are people are you connecting to? What is your resume aligning to what you have on your LinkedIn? And if there's misalignments, I start not having a lot of confidence to that candidate. You need to understand that we managers have what 50, 60, more than that people that go through our process, and we need to pick maybe 10. So you want to make your resume flashy. You want to make sure that your LinkedIn is as flashy as your resume as well. And don't lie on either or, because that's just going to drop you out of the whole equation. So first point was the LinkedIn. I think Sylvia covered it with even more detail than I could ever even cover it. So that was amazing, Sylvia. I even have some learnings out of that one, just so you know. And I'm an old schooler. If you are in tech, and if your passion is data science, analytics, or software engineering, please open a GitHub account. You very likely work in a lot of projects through your studies. Add them projects into your GitHub account. Why is that? Then you could share that GitHub account with whoever, like put it on your resume, right? So that a person like me can go into your GitHub account and see some of your projects. That will speak about the great work that you're doing. It could be a simple project that you do at your home. Just expose it, because that shows me and shows people that may be hiding your passion for a specific area. And that's what we mostly look for. My father used to tell me, you are intelligent for college. You need to be a very good politician and very good passion person for work, right? That's what gets you to the next level. It's not really like, yeah, your education is going to get you to your first job, but your career will be built based on how you do your network, how you grow through your profile, right? Anyhow, I went too deep there. Practice, practice, practice. And I say practice because all of you, if you're ever going to go to a STEM career, you're going to go through an interview of coding. And it's not going to be easy. And you will fail. And don't get hanged out. It's just part of the process, right? You're going to have to fail, and you have to come back, and you will do it again. And next time you'll be even more ready. But the best way for you to fail the least is by practicing. And there's a couple of links that I put, websites that I'm putting here. There's a cool book, Cracking the Code Interview. That is a very good book as well, that I would recommend you all to read. Again, practice is everything in everything. If you're a basketball player, if you don't practice your hoops, you're not gonna make a shot, right? So it's the same deal. So Kelly, go for it.
I just wanted to chime in. We are also going to be having a very specific technical workshop with DocuSign on how you could ace a technical interview. So stay tuned for that.
That's super awesome. Thank you, Kelly, for doing that for the people here. But yeah, again, most people are amazing talkers. They could pass my interview, which in my case is as in my case, what I do is mostly talk to you and get to know you and your career and how you grow. But then you pass to one of my team members, and he's gonna or she's gonna get you through the technical part, and that's where most people fail, right? So again, practice, 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 and don't get too worked out if you don't pass that first interview. It's just a first test. A lot of us happen to all of us, including me. So don't feel bad. Don't fear failure, as I mentioned already. If you don't fail, you don't grow. That's the way that I think about things. So the only way that you grow and you get better is by failing. Other than that, there's no one is perfect, and no way you could get through your whole career without a failure. So just get used to that, because you're gonna fail a lot, and then you're gonna pick up yourself and be better and better and better over time. So keep in mind the company you're applying for. If you're applying for Microsoft, don't start talking about Google. Don't start talking about Facebook. Don't start talking about Amazon, because you create an expectation or a false impression on the person that is interviewing you, right? The same I could tell you, if you're applying to Microsoft, you start talking to me about farming. That's an interesting topic, but not necessarily relevant to what you're applying for. So think about where are you applying to, so that way you can tailor the conversation on your interview towards that. The examples that you're going to give should be somewhat in the realm of possibilities of that company, of the role that you're applying. The one that you are asking Joshua about, you want to be a data scientist and you are working in mathematics, that's a perfect, actually, movement from being a mathematics teacher to do data science. Data science is all about mathematics, right? So, hey, you could also talk about your students and some of your data work that you have done, right? Or with your own students or with yourself, or maybe, hey, I'm analyzing the grades of my students, and I noticed that I have dedicated more time for X, one of C student that move their mean a little bit higher and their grades get better. That's the data science little analysis that you're doing there, right? Just demonstrate that type of knowledge, because that will demonstrate your passion for that area, which will then pique the interest of the leader or the manager that is interviewing you or want to hire you. That's what I tell a lot of people. Like, a lot of people ask me, Jose, how can I get started in data science? Like, just get started. That's what I tell to them. Just get started. Just find niches on your own role, on things that you're doing. We're all swimming in data. So how can I then use that data to do little projects by myself so that I can demonstrate that as an example when I go through an interview? But don't expect others to tell you what to do. You have to do it. You have to demonstrate that passion. So that way, then people like me can hire you. Last but not least important, don't hesitate to echarte flores, like Silvia said. Or I was doing this similar talk with people from Mexico, and they call it échale salsa al taco, right? Put sauce in your taco, right? So please, 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 you are the best person that can cheer for yourself. Don't put yourself down. You are what I tell my even when I do my own like we all in like let me give you some insight about Microsoft. We do annual reviews, and every 6 months we do our own kind of look back for ourselves. We write up. I dedicate half of a day just talking about the great things that I have done, because I'm the best of the best, only for that 4 hours, right? Then I become the normal Jose. But you wanna that to be done on the interview as well. You wanna be the best person that you could ever be, and in that case, you are Superman, right? And let them throw you down. Don't throw yourself down. So that will be kind of the couple of tips that I give you about the interview process. And then let's go to the networking part, so I strongly believe that after you pass your interview, you walk into the door, let's say Microsoft, networking will be key in how you grow in your career. I guess as an example, Julissa and I network with each other a lot, right? Because we have similar roles. We work in the same organization, right? And the way that we both grow is by connecting each other, connecting us with other people, so that then we can speak about great things that we all do. with that, let's go to the next slide, and I will give you a couple of tips about networking. You know, don't get too hung out in the words on the image down there. Was an image that I picked up about growth mindset, but I think it was a cool image. You know, all of this is all about soft skills, right? Communicate effectively at all levels. We are all humans. So if, let's say, you walk into a door and there's a president or whatever, just remember that this person is another human like you. The way that my father used to tell me is, he has two eyes, you have two eyes, right? Have you looked, he has a third eye? No, okay, he's another human like you. So just treat him like another human. And that will give mutual respect to each one of you. It feels good when you're talking to a person like a person. And it will move you up in the chain of the person and the mentality of the person treat you back, right? So just be aware of that. It doesn't matter what level you are. You should treat people like people. Don't treat them like kings or whatever else, because that's not the case. And they don't want to be treated that way also. Have a growth mindset. You will be around brilliant people all the time. It doesn't matter what company you are in, you're going to have brilliant people around you. Be a sponge, learn. There's nothing bad to copy from people, as long as you obviously give credit to the people, whatever, but it's nothing bad to copy styles, copy things that you see that you like. That's one of the best ways for you to develop your career, because when you start your career, you will be very different than what you end your career. And the way that you mold yourself by copying other people's styles and things that you see making them successful. Reach out to people. This sounds very simple, but it's not necessarily something that, at least for my experience with me and Latinos like me, it's kind of difficult to reach out because we feel shy sometimes. Like, oh, why do I want to like talk to that person? Or, oh, maybe that person will not. You don't have nothing to lose. Just reach out to the person. If the person don't want to talk to you, cool, they lose, right? It's less power for them. But if the person comes back to you, then you have an open door to connect to whatever. Now, have some intention to that conversation, right? Don't just walk out into the door and say, hey, hello, I just want to say hello. No, that's okay, but no. What is the intention? What do you want to get out of that person? Is just getting to know the person? Awesome. Maybe you like the style of the person presenting? Awesome. Talk about that piece. But in most cases, try to ask questions open-ended so that the person can then start talking to you. And then you keep asking more questions, because think about, you are the one here wanting to get to know that other person, not the other person get to know you. So in order for you to do that, don't talk like I am doing right now all the time. Just be quiet, listen to the person, and then chime in a little bit and a little bit, but that will make you even better, right? Be a sponge. I already talk about that. And then last but not least important, have fun. Like, at the end of the day, you know, 1/3 of your day will be at work, and this is going to be the extension of your family. If you're not having fun at work, start looking around. But if you have a people around you that like to have fun, just have fun, you know, enjoy your day, go have lunch with people, keep connected with each other. If you don't like to eat with other people, I am the same way. I like to read books, actually listen to books at lunchtime. So I will go take my walks, listen to books, but I'm having somewhat fun, right? But that's super critical in my mind. There's no way you can motivate your team or yourself if you're not having fun. And that's kind of my tips. We are about time, and I don't want to keep talking because I can talk for hours. I will just stop now. If you have any questions or comment, just please feel free.
Thank you, Jose. And I'm going to jump in for Bailey's question that was asking us how to do a referral into a company. Is there anything you want to tell us about that?
I
do have a method of madness, so I can start.
Yeah,
and then
go for it. Yeah, go for it.
All right, perfect. So Bailey, when that happens, right? And I'm literally gonna show you how this works. Let me just. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my mouse to work. Okay. Sorry, my machine works. I promise you, Microsoft products work great. I just
we love Microsoft. We're on Teams right now. No worries.
My everything is just a mess. It's not the computer. It's me.
I will say while you're pulling that up, just thank you to all of the scholars who joined us tonight. Your engagement makes workshops like this happen. And this is all done for you and for the betterment of, you know, your guys' futures. Um, and all of the tips and tricks that they shared, like these are little jewels. Keep in your back pocket, make sure that you're implementing them. And when you have questions on if you were doing it right, feel free to book a quick meeting with me or send me an email, and I will be happy to go judge your work. And I promise I'm not too harsh.
Thank you for that, Kelly. So I'll show you exactly what this looks like, right? So there's no doubt. So let's say I'm gonna just think of a product that I like, Peloton. I just got my
Woo!
Peloton.
I
So
just got a Peloton last
I am
week.
obsessed. It's ridiculous. So
I did a ride through Puerto Rico this morning, and it was like the most calming, scenic ride I ever
that's
like.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's
That's
good
so
that you
cool.
did it indoor, I'm assuming, because otherwise it would not be
Yes.
coming and no, that it would be hot, warm, and very
We're
sweaty.
getting into
If
that.
she was taking me up the hill and I was wondering if I would survive, I was like, can you imagine doing this in person? Like in Puerto Rico? No, thank you. Like, man, I'm dripping in my house.
Oh gosh. All right, so Peloton, right? Let's say I am obsessed with them and I want to work with them. So look at this. There's a senior director, people business partnerships. Wow, there's actually pretty cool items picture here. I just don't like to live in the cold. So, but whatever. Let's assume that I would sacrifice beautiful Florida for New York, which would never happen. But let's say I am, and I want to tap into this job, right? So I'm looking for, let's look at the job. What am I looking for? Um, this is my method of madness. So senior director, people business partner, aligned to, what is this? Health and wellness. This is a full-time director, working with executive leaders, key organizational processes, people business partners. Those are the kind of people are going to be my coworkers. Bachelor's degree, experience in, this is human resources business partners leadership. So it's a person that will be working with the human resources business partners, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So what am I looking for? HR, business partners, executive directors, people at Peloton, right? So I go to people, and just because I love my university, so that would be my first thing, my first item to look for. Look at that. There's a few people that have gone to USF or that went to USF. So step one would be to reach out to one of these persons. Well, if you were to find someone aligned with those senior director, people business, right? Employee relations or HR. Those three items that we talked about earlier. These people sound amazing. I'm obsessed with Camila, by the way. The, the other people seem amazing, but I think based on the job that I was looking for, it would be good to connect with Sarah or maybe with Christy, right? Based on what we discussed earlier. They also, with the common ground, is that they both went to USF. So I would reach out to Sarah and be super frank, be like, hey, Sarah, my name is Sylvia. I am in the Tampa Bay area. I'm looking, I am learning a lot about Peloton. I like, the company, the goals, whatever, how they treat their employees. I've heard lots of great things. And I want to learn more about the company, right? And your experience with the company. Guess what? We're all very happy and open to talk about ourselves. As you can see in the past hour, Jose and me, primarily me, have not stopped talking, right? About what we do, what we like, how to do LinkedIn or whatever, because we're passionate about this, right? So most likely people are going to be open to having a conversation about their experience in their company, right? And if you look at their faces, they look happy, they're approachable. These are the kind of people that you want to talk to. Again, 90% of the time, they'll say yes. And what you're going to be asking for is 15 minutes of their time. Okay. 15, 1 5, because we want to make sure they don't feel like it's a huge compromise, not an hour. I feel like 30 minutes is still a lot. 15 minutes is a sweet spot. And it's a quick introduction. Tell me more about the company. What do you like? What do you not like? Oh, by the way, I saw this role and I think maybe I would be a great fit. Like, if it's okay with you, I can share my resume. Maybe we can have another conversation about my experience. And if you think it's a fit, I would love it if you could give me a referral for this particular role because I think it would be a great match between the company and my experience. Boom. That's how you create a referral path. And no, you're not trying to be a psycho, and no, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what LinkedIn is for, right? I feel like when we think of social engineering, we think of Facebook being the evils of all evil, but that's what social engineering is. Literally, what I just show you here is thinking about what you're looking for, your end goal, and how do you engineer the people side of things to get what you're looking for. Anything you want to add to that, Jose?
Fantastic.
Oh,
Are
sorry.
there any other questions that any scholars have? I have a couple more minutes, not speaking for Jose or Sylvia here, but obviously we're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I just have a
Great.
quick question as well. So do referrals also work for like entry-level intern positions, or are they mainly for a higher level?
It varies in companies. It all depends on the companies. So it doesn't hurt to have a conversation. And also, companies may be really good about talking about how awesome they are, but they may not be. So it's always good to have this kind of conversations with people just to have an honest, you know, feedback session about what they do and where they work.
Okay.
Yeah. And if, referrals is a thing, then most likely they'll help you out with that.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You got it.
Christian put in the chat, do you have any suggestions of additional reading material or references that they should look into?
Yeah, so from my side, well, I know Jose also added some references in the presentation, and we'll share the presentation afterwards. I also have some links in there too. Um, if if you want to look at some of the profile enhancing items, you can also go here on LinkedIn Learning. I'm not sure if that's open to everyone. I know a lot of schools partner with LinkedIn to open this section for their students. Or again, I don't know if I can see it now because I'm a Microsoft employee, but there's a lot of really good resources here. And if you want to look for like interviewing or LinkedIn profile development, there's really good content here too, so feel free to check that out too. Okay, well, if that's it for today, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you all in the Jose and Sylvia show tonight. Um, and wish you much success on your career if you're starting or if you are still in school. I'm super hype about you because this is a really cool team to be part of. And it's really good to get to hear this kind of information from the get-go before you start your career. So congrats to you for doing that. And kudos to you also for being here, time away from your families or from work or from homework or whatever. So kudos to you for taking the time for investing in your career.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, adios.
Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Bye.
Christian, if you're still here, I shared 2 books in the chat. Good to Great in the first 90 days. They would be really good
Yes,
to read.
Kelly, thank you so much. I'm definitely gonna check those out.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
No, thank you for inviting me. I saw the email and I was like, yes.
Appreciate it. See you soon.
You have a good day. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, Joshua. Bye, Stephanie.
Yeah. Bye. Take care. Oh, Kelly, one quick thing. You also said there was another meeting for the technical interview. Will that be sent on email as well, the date and time for that, or?
Yeah, let me see if I have that here right now. So we're gonna have like essentially a workshop a month. There's one in June with DocuSign telling your authentic story, June 28th at 4 o'clock. Then there's July. I'll send you an email.
Okay, that sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you so much. No, this was
Thank-
tremendous help, just seeing this all.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, sorry for I was a little bit late. There was some issue with my computer, but I'm glad I was able
No
to come
worries.
here.
You made
There's a
it.
bunch
And
of stuff in
I'll
this
send the
stuff.
recording and all the slides once I have it.
Yeah, will do. Thank you again. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.